My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is the Alamo City Sportscast, streaming live from my house here in West Bexar County. How is everybody doing? It is Monday, by the way. Joe Garcia typically producing today's show. He's got a new gig, got a new job, so he is out doing training right now. So I am flying solo. You are in my living room, my kitchen, right behind me over here. Forgive me if it comes off a little bit weird today, because again, I usually rely on a producer, whether it be Joe Garcia or back on the day when I was on San Antonio Sports Star, James Pledger, Edwin Hafner, those guys, they are my crutch, okay? They are the ones that I fall back on when I run out of steam. But how long will it take for me to run out of steam today? Not sure, because like I said, I'm flying solo from home. And let's see what's going on here. Let's see if I can click on some of these quotes that are coming in, because Matt Lerma reaches out and says, "Aw, snap, Mikey is flying solo." How do I share this? I don't know, because again, Joe Garcia is not here. Tim Gonzalez reached out and saying, "What up, Mikey? Going solo today." Chris Leha showing me lots of love, saying, "Mike about to fuck this up." Very true. Again, they're referring to the fact that I was named the Hamburglar earlier this week. So brutal, absolutely brutal. But I've got my Bexar County Social Apparel shirt on, 226-3232. Lots to get into today. So how long are we going for? Typically we go for an hour 15. But I have no time constraints. Man, we want to be here till 5 p.m. Let's make it happen. Let's break some records. I don't care. Let's see. We're going to talk about the Spurs. We're going to talk about the Spurs. What is that now? 4 in a row that they've lost? I posted on Twitter last night, the Spurs are 3-7. They should be 6-4. So we'll get into the Spurs. Are you beginning to believe in Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott, monster game against the Giants. But Cowboy fans, can you really get excited about yesterday's win? I know what you can get excited about. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is the man there in Houston. Houston Texans now with a winning record. If the season ended today, right now, your Houston Texans would be in the playoffs. And now there's talk not only of CJ Stroud being Rookie of the Year, but also potentially an MVP candidate. Fair or foul? We'll get into that. People are reaching out right now.
Let me make a quick appearance real quick.
Oh, what's going on, man? Look at you hijack the show.
Yeah, man. Mike hijacked the show. He's in charge for now. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to go ahead and just let him freestyle. I'm gonna be in training, but I know that we're gonna have like an hour out, so we'll let Mike go all the way up to about. We're starting near 11, so at around 11:55, 12 noon, somewhere around there, Mike. Uh, but we need to get our sponsorship ads in real quick too before we go ahead and do anything else.
Oh, dude, I wasn't gonna forget. Oh, but
No,
I to
it's gonna
push the
be
button. Oh, I'll live read them. It's
okay.
MCS. It's
You'll live read them. All right.
it's MCS, and it's also Jeff
Those
Garcia, Locked On Spurs.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll show
just
some
making
love for all
sure.
that. This
Yeah,
past
man,
week, so
I'm
it's kind of weird how you're able to like just jump in real quick.
just jump in.
That freaked
I
the fuck
control
out of
everything
me, man.
still.
That just
I
scared
control
me.
everything. Yeah, look, everybody's laughing. They're like, "Oh shit, Joe is here." I
So
had to go.
how do I call up these quotes or these?
So I try to give you access, so you can go ahead and be a like a I guess a co-host,
Yeah,
doing things behind the scenes.
yeah,
So generally speaking, what you're supposed to be able to do if you have access to, is you just click on any of these comments and it should show it on stream.
yeah. Not happening on my end.
Yeah, yeah, we're
Maybe
gonna
it's
have to figure that
there.
out.
Maybe it's because I'm a guest on this thing. No, but I am able to see everyone's comments coming in. So bounce them up, bounce them off me. Be
Yeah.
more than happy to kind of read them off to you guys. But again, Joe Garcia. Now, when you told me, Joe, that I was going to be flying solo, you made it appear as though it was going to be 1 or 2 episodes. And then I see a tweet last night that says
I'm like,
Jimenez is flying solo for 3 weeks.
yeah,
The
2, 3
hell?
weeks.
Hey, does this mean I could do a show on a Tuesday if I wanted to?
You could if you wanted to.
Does this
Jimenez
mean
was
I
like, "What
I
the?"
wanna pop in on a Thursday? Because we've been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe, just maybe, I might be bored.
Hey, maybe you could do a show with the dogs because everybody's giving you shit about the dogs all
Dude,
the time.
no, no. Okay, first of all, my dog Cody is I am pissed at that dog right now. Absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so I spent over, I'd say over the spring of last year, about $6,000 on a brand new fence around my house. All right. The whole backyard. And the reason why it was so expensive was because I wanted to dog proof the fence. So it's strong, it's a good looking fence. And underneath it on the back end, there are these 2x4s all the way around. So it's an expensive fence. And the dogs have not been able to get out. But now they figured out that, what doesn't have the 2x4 that's secure is the gate. So now they're digging under the gate. Now, for my Shih Tzu to get out, it's understandable because a Shih Tzu's, a very, very small dog. It's like
Yeah.
6, 8 pounds. But my golden retriever got out. Cody got out this morning. And I have brand new carpeting in my bedroom. And he likes to go into my bedroom. I get the doorbell rings this morning around 8:30. I had just taken my daughter to school. And she goes, "I got your dog." And I'm like, "What the hell?" I look, and Cody, my golden retriever, big ass golden retriever, is completely covered in mud. It's raining outside. He dug out. I had put rocks, the big ass rocks, all on the fence line at the gate, so he couldn't get out. Still figured it out. Now my husky is outside. It is cold and rainy outside. It is chilly and rainy. My husky is loving this weather. Does not want to come inside. Hand over fist says, make sure to stay in the fence. Already done, baby. Already done. This was an expensive fence.
I got an idea
Oh,
for you, man. The one thing that they
what's that?
can't dig out or they can't push around is concrete. So you might have to you dig a little trench right there and
Yeah.
maybe have Chris Leha come over and pour some concrete there
Well,
so he can't get out.
I'm glad you brought that up because Chris Leha has been to my house before, and there's a couple of things I want him to do around here. So MCS General Contracting, proud sponsor of Alamo City Podcast. Why is it misspelled? Why is our mask misspelled?
Oh, I think it's the old one. Hold on. I think I have 2. One of them was misspelled and the other one I fixed. Let me
Yeah, so
see.
I just noticed that right now. So MCS General Contracting has been a proud sponsor of this particular
Oh,
podcast.
it's
Back when
just
it was
the
MJ
one.
Acquire Taste, now when it's the Alamo City Sportscast, has been a big time sponsor. They do everything from slabs to man, ADA compliant type stuff. Those ramps that you need, sidewalks, parking lots, all of that stuff. But they do concrete patios as well. I wonder what they can do over here. So Leha, come by my house, dude, someday. Take a look at my backyard. What can we do to make things nicer around here? Is it to add a thing for maybe a hot tub? Is it to add a space for, I don't know, just extend the concrete out? Want to do a little bit more to this house, man. I'm not money bags like Jeff Garcia yet, but I'm getting there. I'm
Yeah.
getting there.
I'll fix the
So
mast right now too. I just noticed that. I was like, I wonder if the old one was loaded up in here, but
so
I have a new
MCS
one.
so MCS General Contracting, when you need that concrete work at Diamond Hard. What is going on there? Matt Lerma reaching out to us right now on our YouTube stream saying, I'm sipping on my mudslingers. Let's talk business. Dude, mudslingers is badass. This is mudslingers weather. If I don't know any better, mudslingers weather with this chilly, cold, damp. You want to sleep in, dude. Back to back nights of 10 hours or more sleep for me. Saturday, going into Sunday night and going into Saturday night was absolutely amazing. I feel refreshed. I am just wired right now. I have no caffeine in me, but I am wired right now.
You didn't
Um,
even need the CBD gummies to go to
did
sleep.
no, didn't need any of that, man. No melatonin needed, but I did see my dog right now, Cody. After this show, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to bring Cody in, and I'm going to have to carry 75 pounds of dog through my bedroom, right? Where because I have brand new carpeting. We put that down. I put that down about a month ago, right? And I can't have it destroyed. So I need to carry him into the tub, give him a bath, and I've already gone to the side in the rain to put more rock and all that stuff on the side to see if the dog won't go past that anymore. It's like I'm building a fortress over there to get that dog from doing it. And this dog has never done this before. He's only started digging to get out of the house like the last week. The last 3 years, nothing. Now it's being a pain in the ass. Don't know what's going on with that. But again, we're talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. Lots to get into today. I want to talk about the Cowboys. I want to talk about the Texans. Got to get into UTSA football. They're going to have an early week this week. They play on Friday night. They usually on Mondays practice at the Dome, but practice at campus. They're at the Dome right now. It's an early week for your UTSA Roadrunners. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, back-to-back weeks where they play on a Friday. So we got
Yeah.
to get into that. Um, you know, uh, Karma is a guy that plays for the Chiefs. Did you see that, Swifties? Taylor Swift at a concert in Argentina changed the lyrics to one of her hit songs to make reference to her boyfriend, Travis Kelce, who was in the stands. He was in the stands.
Oh Lord. Hey, I went ahead and fixed the mask, by the way. It says Alamo. Alamo.
I did dig the Alamo City podcast. It was
Almo.
it was missing an A. Hey, let's
Yeah.
talk about the Cowboys first. Dallas Cowboys. This was a game that was a complete farce. It was a complete joke of a game, and I question how excited on a scale of 1 through 10 should Cowboy fans be in beating up the Giants this way. Now, in some respects, you look at it as though they're NFC East rivals. Anytime you beat a rival, it's a good thing, right? But this is a game that featured the Giants playing a third string quarterback who had no practice time with the team one. I doubt they even knew his name. He was on the practice squad a week ago. This is also a team that they played that Vegas had no faith in because every single spread for week 10 of the NFL was 8 points or less. Cowboys were favored to win this game by 17 and a half. So Vegas was saying this was going to be a blowout. This is a crappy Giants team. Cowboys came into this game 2.5 games behind the Philadelphia Eagles. And a lot of Cowboy fans like looking up at the standings going, can we catch up to them? They play each other in a few weeks. But the thing is, man, this is a game that the Cowboys needed to get, and they got. And people are trying to throw me out under the bus right now. Chris Leha coming out and saying, oh, well, they at least they didn't lose to Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs is a pretty good quarterback. It is embarrassing that my Saints lost to the Vikings yesterday, 27-19. That is relatively embarrassing. But let's not pretend that Josh Dobbs is the bad quarterback. Josh Dobbs should be playing for the Jets. The fact that the Jets didn't go after him, Josh Dobbs is a smart guy, a good, talented quarterback. And in fact, the Vikings may have the quarterback of the future with that guy. This is a guy that's bounced around to 4 different teams. That is not, I mean, it's embarrassing for the Saints to lose them. So I'm not going to say on a scale of 1 through 10, it was like a 7 on an embarrassment scale. At least they lost on the road.
Yeah, and Dobbs did beat the Cowboys too.
Yeah, Dobbs beat the Cowboys. Yeah. So the Cowboys at home, where they've won, what, like 11 games in a row?
Yeah.
Taking on a third-string quarterback who was on the practice squad last week or a week and a half ago. I can't get excited about this.
You know what's funny too, Mike? When Cowboys, they say quarterbacking is not rocket science. Well, guess what? This motherfucker's a rocket scientist.
Yes. He passed the Wonderlic exam. He knows,
dude.
He knows shapes and he knows about black holes, right? He looks good, but the thing about it is this. Here's the thing about Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs, out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, is 3rd in rushing yards. So he's basically a guy that pass is not there. Boom, he's gone. Motherfucker's gone. And so it's interesting. I have a hard time cheering against Josh Dobbs. I have a hard time.
He's the underdog. He's the underdog, man.
Cowboys with more than 600 yards of total offense. Dak Prescott with more than 400 yards passing. Dak Prescott, I would say this stretch of 3 games ever since the loss to the Niners might very well be the best 3-game stretch of his career. Yeah. But the Cowboys right now, if you look at their record, very solid record, but they are 2-3 on the road. If they don't win the NFC East, they have to go on the road to win 3 games to make it to the Super Bowl.
You know what's funny too in this last game, Mike?
The Cowboys are relatively unbeatable right now at home.
Yeah, you know what's funny in this last game against the Giants? You would have thought it would have been Dakota Rain Prescott that was going to throw the pick. It was not him. It was actually Cooper Rush. He threw the pick, man. You know there was going to be a pick in the game. I was like, I know there's going to be a pick somewhere. Somebody's going to go ahead and throw an interception. I'm thinking it's going to be Dak. No, it was Cooper Rush.
Neff Ozuna reaching out and saying, nobody's excited about this. We did what we were supposed to do. Yeah. I get it, but a lot of Cowboy fans, dude, just like in awe of Dak Prescott. 600 total yards. We have figured it out. Mike McCarthy is just this incredible play caller with just
played a shitty team with no
just
quarterback.
3 weeks ago. See, and that's the thing. That is the thing right there, is that the Cowboys have a chance of making this division title run a possibility. 2 games behind. The Eagles had the week off, right? So the Eagles are rested right now, and they better be rested because the Eagles' schedule right now is rough. The next game for the Eagles, Monday Night Football, on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you take a look at what goes on beyond that, home against the Bills, home against the Niners, on the road against the Cowboys, and then on the road against the Seahawks. Dude, that 5-game stretch right there is rough. Meantime, you know, the Cowboys are playing, you know, Sisters of the Poor the next few weeks or so. I mean, they've got they got the Giants. The Giants are a trashy team. They got who they got next? Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young hasn't had a touchdown in like weeks. The guy is awful over there.
Yeah.
Then they got the Commanders. They got the Seahawks, but what's different about the Seahawks with the Cowboys is that the Cowboys got the Seahawks at home, whereas the Eagles have them on the road. Then the Cowboys host the Eagles. And then finally, see, Cowboys the next 4 or 5 weeks have a chance to catch up. But if they do catch up, what do the Cowboys have to end the year? On the road against the Bills, on the road against the Dolphins, home against the Lions. And the Lions are looking good, man. Scoring more than 40 points last night to pull off the upset. Well, the relative upset in LA against the Chargers. Lions are favored, but still.
I got to get back to work here. I got my lunch break coming to
an end.
I got to get back. But go ahead and text me when you're gonna go ahead and end the stream. That way I can actually hit the end button so nobody's
Oh,
just watching 4
so
hours of nothing.
no one's just watching me cooking in the background, you
All
know.
quit out. You're gonna be
Uh,
cooking naked in your kitchen. That's like nobody wants to see
I
that.
got my sweats on. I got my dude's wearing sweats, dude. This is
I'm like,
funny, dude.
bro, it'll be wild to see what happens for 4 hours, right? It's just you and your house. I'm like, God
You're
help
gonna
us.
see that all I do for a living is talk on the phone and
My
just do
God.
math. I do math. I'm the Josh Dobbs of financial planning over here.
Jesus. All
That is
right, man.
Joe
Have a great
Garcia.
show.
Congratulations on your new job.
All right, man. See you boys later, man. I'm
Mike
out.
Baez saying show some leg. Oh well, let's do that. Go frost yourself. I'm wearing one of Bear County Social Apparel shirts right now. Oh, there you go. There you go. There I am. Yeah, I am barefoot because I'm home right now. I am home right now. All right, so Cowboy fans, Dak Prescott. Are we gonna believe in this guy now? This guy is due for a pay raise this offseason. $59.4 million against the cap next season, which means that if the Cowboys don't want to have to pay him $59 million or have him count towards the cap, then you've got to extend him out. Is he worthy of being extended out? That is the thing. He's putting up the numbers, baby. He's putting up the numbers, but it's not worth it, dude. Dak Prescott worth 55, 60 million a year. It's not worth it. You know that. And you know that we're seeing the last of Tony Pollard. What is going on with Tony Pollard? I mean, even when they're putting up all these monster numbers, Tony Pollard is he's just another guy out there, man. He's just another guy out there. And I fear that Tony Pollard, that this is the end of his run with the Cowboys. Let's take a look here. Here's the number of touchdowns he's had in the last 8 weeks. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Tony Pollard with just 55 yards yesterday on the ground, 529 for the season. He is on pace to have less than 1,000 yards rushing. Just another guy. Just another guy. Tony Pollard is not going to be on this team next year. He just won't be, because what's it going to cost to keep him? 8. I mean, he's signed a franchise tag this year for just under $11 million. He's not going to get franchised again next year. Why would they do that? And you see what Rico Dowdle's doing. You know, you see what other guys on this team are doing from the backfield, and you look at it and you think to yourself, you know what? That is not the production that you would want to see from there. Now, Rudolph Gonzalez reaches out to us right now and says, "Weren't you one of his biggest fans last year?" I was. Last year, Tony Pollard averaged 5.4 yards per rush attempt. He did. The question became, could he be that guy that would get you 20 to 25 touches per game, and can he run through the tackles? I personally think that he has the ability to do well, but you need to have a thunder and lightning type of dynamic back there. And the fact of the matter is that he has proven that he's not that guy. And it's sad. It's sad because I like him. I like him personally. The Cowboys cannot afford to keep him. And this is the thing about the Cowboys, is that the window is open right now for them to make a Super Bowl run, because look at all the people that they've already started paying, and look at all the people that they've got to pay. Micah Parsons, the bill is coming due. Dak Prescott, the bill is coming due. Tony Pollard, you were franchised. The Cowboys are going to be spending a ton of money to keep their players. I mean, they re-signed Diggs. They've re-signed certain players on their team that they want to be part of the roster for years to come. They're not going to be able to keep all of them. And if you take a look at their entire roster, the way that it's built, this is the window. The 2023 season is the greatest window of opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to win a Super Bowl. After this, it actually gets harder. It gets much, much harder. And you take a look at the landscape right now of the NFC. Who should the Cowboys be afraid of? The Eagles? I mean, the Cowboys were inches away from beating the Eagles on the road at Lincoln Financial Field. They showed that they can play just as well as the Eagles, and that any given Sunday they could beat them. They're not going to be afraid of the Giants. They're not going to be afraid of the Commanders. They're not going to make the playoffs anyway. Go to the other conference. Will they be afraid of the Vikings? I don't see why they would. I don't see why they'd be afraid of anybody in the NFC South. Right now, the New Orleans Saints are the only team at 500. The winner of that division is going to be 9-8. Just get to 9 wins, you win that division, you host a playoff game, and that more than likely is going to be the Saints. And is it weird for me to like get excited about Jameis Winston all over again? So you have the Lions. The Lions are the team that I think the Cowboys probably should fear the most right now. It's kind of hard to say that because these are the Lions, right? But the Lions, they put up points. They can play tough defense when needed. They've got the two-headed monster when it comes to the running game, finally getting healthy again. Goff doesn't make many mistakes. The parallels between Dak Prescott and Jared Goff are actually pretty interesting. We talk about how Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins kind of are parallels. You could put Jared Goff into that mix as well. Are you afraid of the Niners? Well, the Niners lost 3 games in a row. Won last night, back in first place, tied with the Seahawks, but due to tie breaking and all that stuff, are right now tops of the NFC West. So you look around, Cowboy fans, this is the opportunity. This is the time right now. Cowboys need to run off 3 or 4 in a row, starting now, and beat the Eagles if they have any chance of making a Super Bowl run. Because if the Cowboys finish the season 11-6, 12-5, but they're a wild card team, they're not going to do much. It's just, they're just not going to do much. They are a different team on the road than they are at home. 11 wins in a row at home. I mean, that's no joke. You give this team home field advantage, they might make some noise. I mean, they might make a lot of noise. You give them 3 road games in a row in the playoffs, tell them, hey, you got to go beat the Saints on the road. You got to go beat the Niners on the road and the Eagles on the road 3 weeks in a row in order to make the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's going to be a bad game somewhere along there. Rudolph Gonzalez says, you downgrade the Cowboys because of history and you'll lift up teams like the Lions for newness. Make it make sense. It's different, man. It's different, and you take a look at certain teams like the Lions. The Lions have been getting better year after year after year. This isn't the first year that they've done well. They were on fire at the end of last year. So they are a continuation of what was happening last year. They have progressively gotten better through the years. Does that mean that they're experienced enough to go win a game in the playoffs? No. But guess who else is not experienced enough to win playoff games? The Cowboys. The Cowboys. The Cowboys have no experience of winning playoff games either. Was 2 playoff victories in 28 years? So let's not pretend that Dak Prescott has all this experience to go win a playoff game when he's only done it twice. That's what, one more time than Tebow. But the Lions right now just are playing so well on both sides of the ball. They're putting up points. People are buying into it. And the thing is, Rudolph, if they played, they'd be playing in Detroit. If they played this game in Dallas, I would pick Dallas to win that game. If they're playing this game in Detroit, I would pick Detroit simply because of home field advantage and because that team is playing so well. Home field advantage means a lot sometimes in the playoffs. Rico had 1 game against the Giants. I've liked some of these backup running backs that the Cowboys have had. Power rushing, I'm a big fan of. Hanover Fist says Cowboys are a tier below the Eagles and Niners. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? I mean, last I saw, Cowboys went into Philadelphia and were, 6 yards away and 46 seconds away from beating the Eagles on the road? What would have happened had that happened? Think about that. 6 yards. That's 18 feet. They were 18 feet away from going into Philly and beating the Eagles. What would the narrative be at that point? They had a false start. Dak had a sack and an incomplete pass, and the game was over. They were 6 yards away. And I know we're going to hear, Jalen Hurts was on one leg and he was injured. Who cares? They were on the road and were 6 yards away from winning. And that might be one of the things that prevents the Cowboys from actually making the Super Bowl or making a big run, was that 6 yard difference right there. Cowboys should be excited about where they are right now. I'm not so excited about what I saw yesterday because, Dak threw for over 400 yards and he was pretty much flawless. Yeah, he got a good run in for a touchdown, but these were the Giants, and the Giants suck. and it was a 17.5-point spread against a quarterback that was on the practice squad 10 days before, against a guy that was a third-string quarterback. And it's just the Giants had no chance. Now, I kind of question whether or not 17.5 points was valid because, I mean, this is the NFL. You would think 17.5 points, that's difficult to overcome. But they overcame that in the first half, right? And Dak got to sit down and not watch or not have to play in the game in the fourth quarter. It was a great game for the Cowboys. They did what they had to do. They are 2 games out of first place. They could be 1 game out as of 1 week from today, because think about this. Eagles lose to the Chiefs in a rematch of the Super Bowl. They lose to the Chiefs on the road at Arrowhead. Cowboys take care of business again against the Carolina Panthers. At that point, what ends up happening is that the Cowboys might actually control their destiny, because the Cowboys play the Eagles again, but this time at Jerry World. This time with 11 wins in a row. Might be 12 at that point. Cowboy fans should be excited, because right now it's a buzzsaw of a schedule that the Eagles are going through, but then the Cowboys have their own buzzsaw of a schedule after they play the Eagles. They've got the Bills, and they've got the Lions, and they've got the Dolphins. So right now, Cowboys need to play catch-up. They need to play catch-up. They need to even things out, and I think they will. I think they will. I think that they'll be in a position to tie the Eagles for the NFC East supremacy when it comes to that game a few weeks from now. I think they have a chance. I think it's going to happen. Dallas Cowboys looking pretty good, but are they looking as good as your Houston Texans? The Houston Texans, oh my God. Oh my God. I would like to place a waiver, please, for a new Sancha team. And for those of you who don't know what a Sancha team is, okay, a Sancha team is a team that you get to cheer for that is not your favorite team. My favorite team is the Saints. It's okay to have another team that you kind of look at a little bit. Your side piece team. And for the past few years, my side piece team has been the Cincinnati Bengals, because Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow went to LSU. That's where my daughter goes to school. And there was that whole dynamic there. So I would kind of cheer for the Bengals. And the Bengals made their way, pretty far in the playoffs the past couple of years. They're a very, very good team. But that Sancha team, where you look off to the side, I might need to make a waiver request and drop the Bengals in favor of the Houston Texans, because CJ Stroud is so much fun to watch. CJ Stroud last night, going up against the Bengals, Joe Burrow. This was a crazy game. For those of you who didn't watch it, just really the ending. You see the Texans up by 10 with just a few minutes to go, and you see CJ Stroud throw an interception that almost got taken to the house. Bengals score a touchdown, 3 and out for the Texans. Burrow leading them for a game-winning drive. Tyler Boyd wide open in the end zone. It was a high pass. He got both hands on it, did not come down with it. Bengals kicked a field goal to tie the game. CJ Stroud leads the Texans down the field. Last second, 48, 49-yard field goal. Barely through the uprights. Barely up through the uprights. And then you see the Texans win 30-27. Now 5-4 on the year. Legit chance of actually winning that division. And if you look at the schedule for the Houston Texans, they've got only one good team the rest of the way. Next 8 games, only one good team the rest of the way, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you're telling me, if you are a fan of the Houston Texans, that you are afraid of the next game against the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray's back. Cardinals won last night against the, I believe, the Falcons. But this is a game at home against the Cardinals. They should take care of business, right? Texans should be 6-4 at that point. Then they host Jacksonville, who they've already beat this year. They host them. Then it's another home game against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos have been playing better as of late, but still, it is the Broncos. Then they finally go on the road against the New York Jets, rather. And then 2 tough games back-to-back. Well, actually, 3 maybe back-to-back. You got the Titans twice, and you've got the Cleveland Browns in Houston, end the season at Indy. All I'm saying is, these 8 games, you go 5-3, End the season 10-7? Save as a chance, baby. Matt Lerma says, make sure you're liking the video. Mike is going for it by himself. Let's boost this video. That's right. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Share what we're doing, man. We're doing it more often. Rudolph Renee saying, because you're bandwagon. That's what a bandwagon is. I mean, what was I doing yesterday at 12 o'clock? I was watching the Saints. I was watching my favorite team. I watched every single play of that game. The Sancha team, that's your side piece team, man. I mean, it is what it is. It's your girl on the side. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. And we have that. It doesn't matter if it's baseball. It doesn't matter if it's NBA. We all have that one team that we kind of like watching. I used to like watching. I typically would say you want to choose a team on the other side of the conference, a different conference, so that they're not up against your team. But in the NBA, before they started winning a lot, I really enjoyed watching the Nuggets. Although that Jokic guy is pretty good. And I don't watch the Nuggets that way anymore because, they're one of the best teams in the NBA right now. And it's kind of hard to say that your Sancha team is the best team, okay? You cannot have your Sancha team be the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't have your Sancha team be the Philadelphia Eagles. It has to be a team that is up and coming. And if that means it's a bandwagon, then it's a bandwagon. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think I could cheer for another team in the NFC unless there was a tie to it of a team that I liked. For example, if Bijan Robinson had gone to the Lions or Bijan Robinson had gone to the Rams or whatnot, I probably could have cheered for them. But Bijan went to a division rival of my Saints, so Bijan's dead to me. He's dead to me. But the conversation of CJ Stroud, though, being a MVP candidate as a rookie is so foreign, but it's so accurate. CJ Stroud right now, if you combine his rushing touchdowns, has 17 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. And Dan Orlovsky on ESPN said something interesting the other day. I think it was on Friday. He was saying, take away the name CJ Stroud, take away the team name of the Houston Texans. Just put his stats up there and ask people, what do you think of the stat line of yards per attempt, of touchdown to interception ratio, to rushing yards, to all of that stuff? You would say that they're an MVP candidate. I was listening to Stephen A. Smith today, and he had a very interesting point. He was saying that he was of a belief that it's a joke to consider CJ Stroud an MVP candidate. But what makes that different and what's changing his mind and the minds of a lot of people, including myself, is the fact that the Texans might actually win their division. And if they win their division, then he has to be part of that conversation, along with the Patrick Mahomes of the world, part of the Lamar Jacksons of the world, part of the conversation of, yeah, this is a legit candidate for the MVP. I mentioned that the Houston Texans played the Jacksonville Jaguars not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. Jacksonville is only one game ahead of the Houston Texans, and Jacksonville lost yesterday to the 49ers. So imagine that. Imagine we possibly could be 13 days away from a matchup in Houston at NRG between the Jaguars and the Texans that could potentially determine who's going to win the AFC South. Imagine this. We talk about the fact that the Texans have a legit chance of making the playoffs. They have a legit chance of hosting a playoff game. Hosting a playoff game with DeMeco Ryans as a rookie head coach, with CJ Stroud as a rookie quarterback. And I will say this as well. CJ Stroud is going to be rookie of the year. We know that. But what I enjoy most about all of this is the whole DeMeco Ryans factor, because so many NFL teams refuse to hire black coaches. And DeMeco Ryans is out there balling out. After the game, you see the celebration going on in the locker room where he's, jumping up and down with CJ Stroud. He tells the team, we beat a really good team on the road. We beat Joe Burrow on the road. We should be proud of ourselves. And I am proud because that is a young African-American head coach. And I know there's other African-American head coaches in the NFL. I know one was, I believe, with the Raiders now. But those guys are set up to fail. Those guys are set up to basically hold the team so that they can then hire somebody else and skirt around the Rooney Rule. DeMeco Ryans was the perfect pickup for the Houston Texans, and I saw it and I bought into it early on. I did not think it was going to be this quick of a turnaround. I predicted before the season started that the Houston Texans would double their wins and get to 6 and be 6-11. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I predicted that they'd make the playoffs or they'd have a winning record. No, I said they'd be a respectable 6-11 team. Trajectory going upward. CJ Stroud was a better pick than Bryce Young. A lot of people fought me on that. I was like, no, CJ Stroud's the truth. I have lots of receipts on that. I was a big believer on CJ Stroud. But the whole DeMeco Ryans thing is so exciting because a young black head coach is kicking ass right now. And it makes you wonder, why was Eric Bieniemy never hired as a head coach? Why is there always a retread of failed coaches, but these young minority coaches get nowhere? Those lawsuits that were filed by Brian Flores, and all these other coaches along the way that were saying, hey, man, we were all patsies, man. We were hired to be fired. We weren't hired because they wanted us. We were hired because they were trying to skirt around a rule. We were hired because they wanted a certain guy, and the only way that they can get around the Rooney Rule was to hire us so that they won't look like it's a racist organization. It is what it is. Racism persists inside of the NFL still. You might have 75% of the players be African American, but the coaches, it doesn't reflect that. Some teams are better than others when it comes to it, but it's so nice to see DeMeco Ryans do his thing. The Texans, man, good team. Nefo Zuna reaches out and says, my Sancha team is the Lions. I called at the beginning of the year, so I'm not just jumping on the wagon. That's the thing, man. The Lions are a perfect Sancha team because if you bought into them last year, when they got their new head coach, and it's strange because when you look at the Detroit Lions, you might look at that team and think to yourself, well, what is exciting about them? Because come on, man, this is a Jared Goff team. But you take a look at head coach Dan Campbell and what he's been able to bring to the table, and you take a look at the fact that they get Jahmyr Gibbs early on, and Jahmyr Gibbs is just a wonderful, talented back, and they're finally using him more often. But Jared Goff yesterday, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a rating of 122.4 for the season, 14 touchdowns thrown, 5 interceptions. He has not had one game this year where he has multiple turnovers. Jared Goff is a very, very decent, controlling game manager type of quarterback. The defense can get at them when they're healthy. I like the Lions team. It's fun to watch. Josh Jimenez, no relation, comes out and says, preach! Houston Texans are no longer rebuilding and a joke of the NFL. I'm happy for DeMeco because a lot of Texans fans remember when he was drafted by the team. He did go back home. The Texans made some moves earlier this year when it came to the draft that you see what they're doing, and they're moving up to get picks, and they kind of went all in. I mean, just call it what it is. They kind of went all in with a lot of their picks, and think about it this way: when they went and got Will Anderson at number 3 overall, think about it this way. We talked earlier about the Cowboys and the window of opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And at some point, they got to pay people because Dak Prescott right now is going to be on the clock for $59 million. CJ Stroud's salary right now is so cheap compared to the rest of the NFL when it comes to coaches. $9 million. So what team has a better opportunity or window right now of winning a Super Bowl? Is it the Cowboys when they have a $59 million cap hit next year on Dak Prescott? Or is it the Texans with a $9 million cap hit on CJ Stroud for not only this season, but for the next few seasons to come? Remember when the Chiefs were winning Super Bowls or getting far into the playoffs, and it's because they didn't have to pay Patrick Mahomes? It is oftentimes detrimental to have a quarterback on your roster that is so expensive, taking up 20 to 25% of your cap. It is detrimental sometimes. But when you have somebody who's only taking up 4% of your cap in a CJ Stroud, that's the opportunity to go all in. And imagine if they made the playoffs. What does that do for free agency when it comes to the Houston Texans? Are the Houston Texans suddenly a destination for certain free agents who are looking around going, Houston's not a bad place to live. It's a pretty diverse town. Look at CJ Stroud over there. The same way that we look at Victor Wembanyama as Spurs fans, do we look? Will free agents look at this situation in Houston that's developing and think to themselves, "I want to be part of that now"? There's no better recruit that you can have other than a quarterback that is young, talented, and knows what he's doing. And you can tell with CJ Stroud that he is out there and he is studying. He's studying the game film. He is getting better by the week. And if he is this good after 10 games or less, imagine what he's going to be 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. The Houston Texans got the biggest piece of the puzzle when they drafted, and they backed into him because they wanted Bryce Young. When they backed into CJ Stroud, this is a blessing for the Houston Texans, and he's going to be there for 10 years to come. And this is going to be a playoff team. Maybe not this year. I think they'll be this year. But this is going to be one of those teams when we look at, we think to ourselves, yeah, they along with the Chiefs, the Ravens, contenders for the playoffs. We're going to know that, right? Think about it this way. Imagine the blessing that it is having this guy there, because CJ Stroud yesterday, when he was interviewed on the sidelines, they asked him the question, how were you able to do this? And he was saying that he first and foremost wanted to thank God and the blessings in his life and all that stuff. That is now the face of the franchise for the Houston Texans. The face of the franchise before that was Deshaun Watson, a guy that, settled with more than 24 women, massage therapists in the Houston area for inappropriate conduct. All the draft capital that the Texans got. The best thing to ever happen to the Houston Texans was not CJ Stroud. The best thing that ever happened was for Deshaun Watson to be the jackass that he is. They lucked into it. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. UTSA Roadrunners play on Friday. Undefeated right now. UTSA football, undefeated. Again, I know they were 1-3 in non-conference play, but since then they're undefeated in American Athletic Conference play at 6-0. Still 3 teams undefeated. You've got SMU, you've got Tulane, and you've got UTSA. Dude, UTSA plays Tulane the day after Thanksgiving in New Orleans on the road. But the thing about Tulane, all Tulane does is win 2-point games, man. That's all that they do. If you look at the standings right now, they are barely winning the games. And I know they're ranked in the top 20, the AP top 25. But that team is ripe for the picking, man. That is a team right now, when you look at what's going on with them, and I just get so frustrated watching Tulane. I want them to lose so bad. I watch their games. It's always, it's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter, but Tulane somehow magically wins every single time. They are 6-0 again, along with SMU. Now, UTSA does not play SMU this year. In fact, probably won't play them ever again because SMU is changing conferences. But UTSA did win 34-14, beating Rice at the Alamo Dome. I was there, chilly weather and all. I was there tailgating. I brought 20 shots of Fireball, 10 shots of bourbon. I was bartering it for food, bartering it for beer. It was a fun time as well. Matt Lerma says undefeated asterisk. Not true. Mario Cavasso says it's all about the Benjamins. Boom. Josh Jimenez going back to our conversation about the Texans, saying Texans got a 4-year window before they have to pay CJ Stroud. Texans win a Super Bowl in the next 4 seasons. I don't know. There's a guy named Patrick Mahomes that might prevent that from happening. But UTSA football, they are practicing today in the Alamo Dome. Probably a good thing because it's indoors right now. 7-3 on the season. They play South Florida, 8 p.m., here at the Alamo Dome. This is the game that's going to be on ESPN2. South Florida, not a very good team. Well, it's an okay team, I guess. And then they play at Tulane next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm excited about this team. The crazy part of it all, though, is the conversation piece involving the fact that Jimbo Fisher is out at Texas A&M. That appears to be the story going on over there. Jimbo Fisher, I mean, he had some decent seasons at A&M, but could never take him into a top tier team within the SEC West. And already there's reports out there that Jeff Traylor, along with Cliff Kingsbury, could be potential successors for Jimbo Fisher at A&M. And I would not fault Jeff Traylor if he went to A&M. I mean, that is a big school. I mean, it's the largest school in the state of Texas. It is an SEC relative powerhouse. It is SEC football. If Jeff Traylor was offered millions of dollars to leave UTSA to go over there, why would I fault him and why would you fault him? And a lot of UTSA fans are out there going, no, he's building something over here. And I get that. I get that. But that's the SEC, man. That's the big leagues. And I think they're going to look at him. And if you saw Vinny Vanzetta from Kent's Five over the weekend, had a quote from Jeff Traylor. And Jeff Traylor was saying, no, I'm focused on what's going on with the team this year and this week. We got to win this week. All that stuff, right? But do you know what he didn't say? He didn't say, I'm not going to go anywhere. Did you notice that? He didn't say it. He just said what? I am focusing on this week, which I'm sure he is. But did he say, I am not tossing my hat into the ring? No, he didn't say that. He said, just worried about this week. Just worried about this week. UTSA football, again, taking on South Florida, taking on the Bulls at the Alamo Dome. I'm trying to see what they did earlier this year. South Florida with let's see here. South Florida played Alabama earlier this year. Did not know that. They only lost by 2 touchdowns to Alabama. They beat Temple 27-23 this past weekend. Taking a look at what ESPN believes. ESPN believes that UTSA has an 86% chance of winning this game on Friday night on ESPN2. The game against Tulane, by the way, is going to be played on ABC. It's going to be a nationally televised game. Could determine the AAC champion as well. Tim Gonzalez saying that Mike Elko also named as a potential success for Jimbo Fisher there. That is true. Chris Gonzalez reached out to us on YouTube, says A&M will look at him. Texas has ties. And you know they have the pocketbooks of the donors. Dude, the number of billions of dollars that Jimbo's going to get for being axed is incredible. But, the Aggie wallets compared to the wallets of UTSA, it's a night and day difference, dude. I know we play D1 level, and I know that UTSA has been ranked before and has had players drafted in the first round. But it's a different game. It is a different game. We'll always be little brother to A&M and UT, always. And Jeff Traylor, why would they want Jeff Traylor? Not only is he a good coach, but he's also somebody who has ties recruiting to the area, that triangle that is basically Dallas through Houston to New Orleans, all the way to San Antonio, back up to Dallas. That's where he knows how to recruit. Cliff Kingsbury would be interesting as well, because Kingsbury is known as an offensive genius. Coach for the Arizona Cardinals. He's from New Braunfels, Texas Tech ties as well, obviously. That's another big name as well. The fact of the matter is that if you were to ask the question this offseason, which head coaching position would probably be the most attractive, A&M would probably have to be in the top 5 easily. Jimbo, his contract being bought out for more than $70 million. Mando Cavazos reaches out and says, did you hear Rudy J putting A&M and Rob in their corner this morning? I did not, but Rudy J is my guy. He's my guy. A good friend of mine, Darren, he's an Aggie. He's also a big fan of UTSA football. He was saying, dude, I want them to go after Traylor so bad. And it'd be a pretty decent pickup for them. I don't think that Aggie Nation would be super excited about it, because it's not a big name. It's not an Urban Meyer. The name is not a Harbaugh. The name is not, Saban, right? But if you're going from the analytics of just pure football mind and the ability to network, the ability to recruit in the area that is needed the most, Jeff Traylor might be that guy, dude. He's got to be one of the 3 or 4 best people to look at when it comes to that. Again, we are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Joe Garcia is not with us for the next couple of weeks or so because he has a new job and he's training right now, so he's unable to do his thing. He has given me the ability to do the show on my own. He pops his head in and out. Mike Baez reaching out on YouTube saying UTSA fan base would implode. It would, and not only would the fan base implode, but the productivity on the field would implode as well. We would not be as good of a team without Jeff Traylor. Jeff Traylor is a great head coach. Great head coach. But you know what would be interesting, though? Let's say that Jeff Traylor does up and leave and goes to A&M. You know who'd be a good successor? G.J. Kinney over there at Texas State, who was at Incarnate Word last season, led Incarnate Word deep into the playoffs last year. G.J. Kinney taking a crappy-ass Texas State squad into a winning team, and now are bowl-bound. There's a possibility that UTSA can play Texas State in a bowl this year. The Frisco Bowl is Sun Belt versus AAC. That is a possibility. The bowl projections I find to be interesting because if you look at I go to CBS Sports when it comes to this. Jerry Palm is the guy that I'll look at. He's the one that does all the projections. He is very, very, very good about it all. And he says that that UTSA obviously is going to be bowl bound. He says the AAC is going to have Memphis, SMU, Tulane, and UTSA as bowl teams this year. And he does have Texas State right now as one of the ones going for the Sun Belt Conference. Mike Baez asking the question, would he leave SWT? Here's the thing about G.J. Kinney. He's a coaching mercenary. He is going to go wherever the next best place is going to be for him to make his way to a Big 12 or SEC type of school. He left Incarnate Word after 1 year. He left. He could leave Texas State after 1 year. The school that he was before Incarnate Word, he left after 1 year. The guy just bounces around from place to place. He was an offensive coordinator in the Pac-12 as well. I find it to be interesting. And no, it is not Harry Palms. It is Jerry Palm that does this at CBS Sports. He has right now, as the playoff prediction right now, being Texas taking on Georgia in the semifinals, followed by Michigan against Florida State in the other semifinals. He has the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl being Washington against Tulane, assuming that Tulane does beat UTSA. Orange Bowl, Louisville against Ohio State. On track right now for the Peach Bowl is Mississippi and Penn State. And the Cotton Bowl being Oregon and Alabama. Want to check out the Alamo Bowl, by the way. December 28th at the Alamo Dome. The projection right now, according to CBS Sports, is Oklahoma, the Sooners, taking on the Arizona Wildcats. And I'm looking for UTSA. I'm a-looking. By the way, they have in the New Orleans Bowl Liberty against James Madison. Those are two teams that are just playing out of their minds. Frisco Bowl, SMU taking on Texas State is the projection right now. And then UTSA in the 68 Ventures Bowl, December 23rd against Georgia Southern. Gross. 68 Ventures Bowl. What the hell is that? 68 Ventures Bowl. The 68 Ventures Bowl is played in Mobile, Alabama, baby. We're making our way down I-10 East. We're going past Baton Rouge. I'm going to say hi to my daughter, Gabby. We're going to party in New Orleans. We're going to make our way down to Mobile. That's according to CBS Sports, man. That's according to CBS Sports. Hey, Spurs fans, how you feeling, man? Spurs started the season 3-2. Now 3-7 after losing 5 in a row. Spurs were up 17 in this game last night against the who they play, the Miami Heat. Up 17 and proceed to wet the bed again in the fourth quarter. This is the third time that they've lost a lead of 17 points or more. This is a team, as I mentioned on Twitter yesterday, 3-7, but they should be 6-4. Just hold on to the damn lead. If you're up that big, they're good enough to get out to those leads. They're bad enough to squander them. And my question is, why are they losing these leads? Is it because of the coaching? Is it because of the lack of veteran leadership? Is it because we don't have a point guard? What is the reason behind it? It's basically all of them. All of them is basically it. Last night, the Spurs should have taken that game. Lost 118 to 113. And there were some positives to this game yesterday. So let's give the positives. First of all, the Spurs had 6 players in double figures. You had Zach Collins with 18, Sohan with 16, Keldon with 20, Wemby with 18, Vassell with 14, Branham with 13. Branham also had 7 assists yesterday. Keldon Johnson had 12 rebounds. Wembanyama had 11 rebounds. But the three-point shooting was relatively atrocious. Keldon was 3 for 10, and Wemby was 2 for 9. But look at Jeremy Sohan. Okay, I give Sohan a lot of shit, so I will praise him when praise needs to be done. Sohan, 2 for 3 from 3 last night. His percentage is now north of 37% on the season. And it is a smaller sample size, but still, I got to give him praise. If I'm going to give him shit, I need to give him some praise. And looking at his shooting right now, 38.9% from 3. Right? The difference is, though, is this. Notice that yesterday when Sohan was shooting threes, they were letting him. He knocked them down. No doubt. He knocked them down. In fact, he was 2 for 3, and that third one that he missed was one at the end of the quarter that he kind of forced up there. It was makeable, but I'm not going to fault him for missing that particular shot because it was the end of the quarter, and he just flung it up there, and he was a few feet behind the three-point line, and he was running towards the basket. I really shouldn't fault him for that. But he was 2 for 3. The two that were kind of in relative motion in a normal offensive setup, they dared him to shoot. Not one hand up. They didn't run at him. The Heat defense, you can tell that the storyline, you can tell that the playbook against Jeremy Sohan was let him shoot. They let him shoot, and he was making them. That's 2 games in a row where he's done that. Now, keep in mind, last year in January, Sohan went off on like a tear for like 4 games where he was knocking down threes, and then he missed like 25 in a row. No joke. This is not exaggeration. He missed like 25 in a row thereafter. Okay? I'm going to be excited to see what he can do and if he can knock down some open threes. When Keldon's shooting the ball, when Vassell's shooting the ball, they have people running at them. Sohan right now is shooting essentially a 20-foot free throw. No one is getting their hands up. They're daring him to shoot. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs said they should have a worse record. Barely lost versus Houston, nearly blew it in Phoenix, or barely won in Houston, and nearly blew it in Phoenix. I see what you're saying. Rudolph reached out saying if Wemby just got down low and put his hands up in the air like he wants the ball, especially in the final minutes, too much finesse, not enough domination. Well, he can't play all the positions. It's disappointing to see that they're not giving him the ball down the stretch and making him do something. Give him the opportunity to make something happen. If you notice, a lot of the entry passes that are coming in that are really, really good, they're coming from Wemby. Wemby is doing perfectly fine out there. He's doing fine. I'm happy with his production. I'm happy with his performance. I'm unhappy with how they're using him from time to time. They send him out for long stretches, man. There are long stretches out there where you don't see Vassell and you don't see Wemby. And I kind of question, why is that so? Because they're so young. And if you take a look at at how many minutes they played yesterday, Vassell with 33 minutes played, Wemby for 34. It just seems like they're on the bench for so long. Maybe it seems like they're on the bench for so long because without them on the field, on the court, they suck. That team is awful when those guys aren't on the court. Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Don't forget to subscribe to him. Jeff Garcia brings you daily content when it comes to your silver and black, when it comes to your San Antonio Spurs. Follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on Threads. Don't know if we're still on Threads, people, but Jeff G Spurs Zone. I follow him on Spotify. I follow him on YouTube as well. Oftentimes, you'll find me and Joe Garcia as hosts or co-hosts, rather, or guests, rather, on that show. But lots of interesting takes by Jeff Garcia today, mentioning how Dominic Barlow had a career high in his G League performance last night. And Burger Boy jerseys might be a thing for the city of San Antonio. I've enjoyed a lot of what I've been seeing when it comes to these jerseys out there. The Fred's Fish Fry one from Mike Baez and Bear County Social Apparel. You see Burger Boy coming in. And it makes me wonder, why is it that these guys who are not on the Spurs staff know the heartbeat of San Antonio better than the people that the Spurs are paying right now to do that job? I saw one the other day about, I think it was Baez from Bear County Social Apparel. It looks like Bill Miller's, like the Bill Miller's logos with the Spurs logo. The Spurs should know better. They should know that this is what we want. Instead, they give us that crappy-ass City Edition jersey that was out there. Complete trash. Complete trash. Hey, speaking of T-shirts that kind of come out of nowhere that speak to the social conscience of America, I saw one online. All these stores are selling one that says, Karma is a guy that plays for the Chiefs. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Did you get excited about that? I'm giddy about it, man. My daughter, Gabby, 20 years old. She's in college. Oh, my God, Dad. Did you see what Taylor Swift did? Did you see what she did? I did see. If you didn't see, in Argentina, she's performing. The Eras Tour is over there. Kansas City Chiefs had a bye week. Travis Kelce made his way over to Argentina to be with his girlfriend, Taylor Swift, the billionaire superstar. And there's a song that she sings called Karma, which is one of her famous songs. And she changed the line of the song to say, Karma is a guy that plays on the Chiefs. He's coming home to me. I loved it. Young love. It's so beautiful. I say young love like they're 20 years old. They're 34. That's close to middle-aged love, but I loved it. But it was good times. And I know a lot of people are like, they're so tired of him. They're so tired. Dude, if these two ran for president and vice president in 2028, they'd win. They are the royalty of the United States. And if they got married in the next couple of years, that would be the most televised wedding. She's our Princess Diana. And people hate to admit it, but it's true. And Travis Kelce happens to have the biggest podcast in all of America. And that is true. You may not like it, but it is what it is. Oh my God, we made it to noon. I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know how many people are listening. As Joe Garcia reminded me, I have to tell him when the show is over so that you guys don't watch me wash dishes and shit. Mike Baez reaching out. Travis Swift has a nice ring to it. What if they hyphenated? What if it's Swift Kelce? I can see that. Travis Swift Kelce. Dude, that woman right there is. I was watching this thing the other day on Fox News Channel. I'm not a Fox News Channel guy, but I found it funny because I saw someone post a clip, and it was Sean Hannity talking about the fact that he wants his people on Fox to stop dissing Taylor Swift. And his line of thinking was, you don't want Swifties to come after you at the polls. That you might think that she's a joke. You might think that she's just a singer or just a pop star. The girl is literally a movement. Billions of dollars pumped into cities that she is going to. Every show that she does is as big as the Super Bowl, and she only does the Super Bowl 3 times a week. Think about that. If the city of San Antonio was given the opportunity of having Taylor Swift perform at the Alamo Dome or have the Super Bowl perform at the Alamo Dome, be at the Alamo Dome, the city would choose Taylor Swift. That's how big she is. And it's crazy. And for Fox News Channel, for them to have like meetings to say, you know what? It's against the conservative agenda and against our best interest if you say bad things about her because her army will turn on you. That is crazy. I mean, it's crazy because it's true. And it's also fun because it's true. But this has been fun. I'm going to check to see if we have any tweets going on. Lots of tweets coming on. Normally, whenever I do this show, I have Joe Garcia that I can bounce off of and I can do my thing. Rudolph Renee saying the Super Bowl would have weeks of events leading up to it. So are Swift concerts. Have you seen the concerts? Not only does she fill the 100,000 seat arenas or stadiums, there are literally thousands of people who are on the streets during the performance listening. The hotel occupancies are different. And I think the main thing about it is that, I mean, even as expensive as the tickets are, you got middle class people there. You know, you've got middle class people there. When I went to the Radio Row at Super Bowl, there's nobody middle class at a Super Bowl game at the Super Bowl, dude. The Super Bowl, dude. Everybody, all 80,000 people that are there, they are all owners of car dealerships, and they're all doctors, and they're all of that. It's not the Super Bowl sucks. I just call it what it is. The Super Bowl sucks. The atmosphere sucks. I had fun over there doing my old radio show over there. But as far as being a fan, I mean, think about it this way. You know, you go to a Spurs game and you know that there's a different attitude in the 200 level than there is at the 100 level than there is at the charter level. I have been fortunate enough to be in the skybox as a ticket holder. I've had season tickets before at the 100 level. I party a lot in the Spurs fan zone, the 200s, right? Go up there to where the La Gloria is and Burgerteca and all that stuff. And then you've got the charter level, which is kind of like where George Strait sits, right? Each one has a different vibe. When you go to the Super Bowl, all 80,000 seats are held by people who normally sit at the charter level. They might be fans, but they're not the fanatics that you have in the rafters for Section 200. It's different. It's different. And I know Rudy's coming after me right now on YouTube. Dude, they've already done the economics, dude. I'm sorry. You've lost this argument, man. They have done the financial impacts of a Taylor Swift show compared to the Super Bowl. And they have come to the conclusion that a concert of Taylor Swift, which, by the way, when she does a show, she doesn't do just one. She does 3 to 6 shows every city. So it is actually a much bigger deal for a city to have Taylor Swift in the city than it is for them to have the Super Bowl. And it's sad to admit because the Super Bowl, I mean, is the biggest watched thing in all of America every year. Doesn't matter what teams. It could be the Texans against the Lions this year. It'll be 100 million people watching. But for economic impact, the Super Bowl does not even make a dent compared to what Taylor Swift brings to New Orleans, brings to Houston, brings to Arlington. Does not even make a dent. Jerry Jones would much rather have the Swift era tour all over again than to host the Super Bowl. If he's really counting his money, that's what he would rather have. It's time to wash that t-shirt, brother. What's that? 226-3232? 226-3232? You know what time it is. Now you know what time it is. I don't understand the question about now he's going to give his resume. Don't know about that. For those of you who don't know, I have a financial practice and I do it from home. I do have offices that I work off of the Pyramid Building over there on 410 in Blanco, but why? Since COVID, I have come to the conclusion that working at a business office is absolutely stupid. It's absolutely stupid. I make just as much money, if not more money, in my t-shirt and chones here at home, talking to people on the phone than I do over at my office. At my office, guess what? It's the same internet, and I don't have to fight traffic. I absolutely love working from home. Working from home is a dream. And on top of that, I'm self-employed. So show my 1099s? Shit. Maybe if I did, I'd be called Moneybags. No, Jeff Garcia's forever Moneybags. I had a good year this year, though. This was my most successful year ever in finance. Last year was a really good year. This year's been off the charts. And the reason why it's off the charts is because the way that I do certain financial products, if you will, fall in line with high inflation, fall in line with people who are afraid of the market. I have no idea, dude. I'm trying to follow along and do this show, and I don't know what you're saying, Rudy. It means you have to tell everybody where you've been and what you've done in order to give yourself relevance to a topic. That's called relating to a topic, dude. You know, if a doctor is talking about medical procedures, they would want to let you know that you are a doctor and that you know. So if I talk about how I've been to Super Bowl Radio Row, it's because I fucking been to Super Bowl Radio Row. What do you want me to do? You know, my experience being around Super Bowls, that I've been around 2 of them, right? I know what it's like, and I've been to high-end playoff games in various sports. It sucks once you get there because the only people that are there are the ones that have the most amount of money. The experience there sucks. Going to the Super Bowl, it's a bunch of fucking corporate people, dude. It's all it is. It's a bunch of corporate people. There's no Spurs zone. There's no people who saved money to go to the Super Bowl. It's not like that, man. No one knows what teams are going to go to the Super Bowl until 2 weeks before the Super Bowl starts, right? You got a 2-week buffer there. So if you are a Saints fan or a Cowboys fan, you're not going to know whether or not your team is going to go until 2 weeks before. So therefore, the only people that can actually go are the ones that have an enormous amount of money. Hand over fist says lots of people stepping back from the market looking at bonds. It would be against the law for me to say yes or no, but give me a call if you have any questions about that. I can tell you stuff about that offline. Just know this: when interest rates go up, bond prices go down. When interest rates go down, bond prices go up. That's economics 101. Tell you what, I'll do another 5 minutes of just answering questions on Twitter. Not Twitter, on YouTube. If you guys have any questions for me. Normally, I said Joe is normally here. Normally, Joe and I go till about 11:35, 11:45 or so. But I am home right now. Let's see. Got another comment coming in. Mario Cavazos saying, word. Peace. Dude, Houston Texans, man. Sancha team. New Sancha team. Man, I fell off the Texans bandwagon with Bill O'Brien was there. Bill O'Brien was the worst thing that ever happened to that team. Bill O'Brien is garbage of a head coach. And I remember they were half a yard away from beating New England and Tom Brady. And instead of going for it to get that half yard to seal the deal, they punted the ball away to Tom Brady, gave him 2 minutes to lead them on a big old drive. Did I get my ad reads in? I did. Yeah, we did MCS General Contracting. Again, reach out to MCS if you have any needs when it comes to slabs, when it comes to ramps and things like that. It's good times, man. And then we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at Jeff G Spurs Zone. This has been fun. Will we have a show tomorrow? No, because we have it Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But if I pop up on a random Tuesday or Thursday over the next few weeks, it might be because I'm bored at home. We do this at Joe's studio. Joe lives like maybe 10 minutes from me. It is a 4-minute drive, but it's a straight shot from my house. So, when you see me rolling on in, because typically whenever you see that 2-minute thing pop up, I'm actually walking in the door at Joe's house. It's 10 minutes away. That's pretty cool, but he's given me the opportunity to do this here. To be honest with you, when he was talking to me about it, he made it sound like this was only going to be a one or two show type of thing, but apparently it's going to be for the next 2 or 3 weeks until Joe is back up and running and out of training at his new job. I have to get back. I am working right now on $1.1 million of new investments. So I've got to go invest those dollars right now. and I got to find a place for them. And I've got a dinner tonight with one of my vendors. They didn't tell me where I'm going, but they said that they're going to have dinner with me at 6 o'clock. And after that, going to chill out, watch Monday Night Football. Matt Lerma says, don't bring up that blasphemy. Is it time for the Spurs to move on from Pop? It was time in the year 2019. I am tired of Pop. I'm done with him. It was a fun ride. Get off the ride, dude. I mean, have you ever seen like guacamole that turns really, really brown because like it just isn't fresh anymore? That's Pop. I'm done with him. Everybody, have a great day. Be safe out there. The weather sucks. And we'll be back Wednesday, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. But it'll pop up on your YouTube if I do come back tomorrow. But this has been fun. Talk to you guys soon.